Hello and welcome to Inside Tennessee Football's practice facility. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor, and we are with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. And as Tennessee completes their bye week now, full attention has been turned to an upcoming game against Kentucky. Dark mode uniforms have been announced, and Tennessee is looking to keep its undefeated streak alive over the Wildcats with Josh Heupel as head coach. So today we talked with Josh Heupel and a handful of players. Noah, we'll start with you. What were your takeaways from what Josh had to say?
Yeah, it's kind of getting that point in the year where, the conversation kind of turns to the playoffs, and it's obviously the first year of the expanded playoff. But Tennessee going into this back half of the season with little margin for error, not only because of the loss to Arkansas a couple weeks ago, but now some things are a little bit out of your control and how other teams play. And Josh Heupel was asked about that today and gave pretty much the coach answer you would expect, that really Tennessee can only control what they do, and winning is the best way to plead your case, as a lot of teams kind of have the same record. You get a clear picture of what that playoff picture may look like here in a couple of weeks. Of course, the rankings are released after Tennessee plays Kentucky, the week after Tennessee plays Kentucky. So obviously a big opportunity for them to maybe bolster their resume against an SEC team, one that with the line coming out yesterday, Tennessee's a sizable favorite against, and should play well at home, you would expect. But yeah, getting that time for Tennessee where the conversation, not just for them but nationally, is becoming how are you going to play here in the month of November. Obviously the most important part of the season every year, but now Tennessee with a chance to get into that playoff game. But obviously wins are what's going to get them there.
A guy that's helped his case a lot this year, especially against that last game against Alabama, Jermod McCoy, was asked about, and Heupel kind of just talked about what's led to so much success for Jermod. And though he's just a sophomore and it's his first year with Tennessee after transferring from Oregon State, Heupel talked about how a lot of it is maturity and kind of feeling almost like an older guy in that room, even though technically he is still a kind of a younger player, and how important that's been with his growth, and just kind of sitting on meeting rooms and watching film and really kind of learning from mistakes and going forward. And I think you've been able to see that on the field as well, with just not that he was bad at all at the beginning of the season, but he's continually taken steps forward. And now I think you have to consider him one of the better cornerbacks in the SEC, and one of the better cornerbacks that Tennessee football's had in a little bit of time too, just considering how young he is and also the level he's playing at. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but there's a lot of youth kind of across that line, both cornerbacks sophomores, both starting linebackers at this point sophomores. So it is cool to see Jermod having so much success so early in his career, and then hearing Josh Heupel talk about how a lot of that is due to him kind of maybe acting older than he actually is. But players, what were your thoughts on what they had to say?
Yeah, get to talk to the three guys today, and Caleb Perry being one of those guys in that linebacking core, one of the veterans there. Kind of a youth movement, obviously. I know we've talked about it, especially since Keenan Peely's injury in that Florida game. A lot of the youth movement going on that side of the ball, especially in that room right now with guys like Arian Carter and Jeremiah Thielander, kind of leading the way there. But Caleb Perry obviously asked about what that communication has been like since Thielander has had to step in and kind of fill that role that Keenan Peely, again, another veteran guy that had played a lot of football, not so much at Tennessee, but before he got here, and was playing really well before that injury, how Thielander's kind of taken on that role. We probably sound like a broken record at this point, talking about what he's been able to do there. But again, a lot of confidence in his ability to communicate and run that position, middle linebacker there for Tennessee. But again, I think it means a little bit more when you're hearing a veteran like Caleb Perry that's been here a while talk about, maybe in a way they're looking up to Thielander and confident in the way he's been able to handle that position now. Because it's not so much, we kind of know what he brings as a guy that can play the position on that side of the ball, but now he's taking on a little bit of a bigger role and has some pretty big shoes to fill. It feels like the guys are pretty confident that he's been able to do that, and I think the bye week has certainly helped him settle in a little bit more.
And for Caleb Perry, that's a guy that's kind of returning to play, one of his, not a former school, but maybe his hometown school, or home state school. As a guy from Kentucky, talked about how there's some guys he knows over on the Wildcats, and obviously Gerald Mincey, a name that no one brought up necessarily, but someone that this team's familiar with as a transfer just from last season over to Kentucky. So interesting to see how that plays out. Miles Kitselman, a guy we talked to today, just played his former school, said kind of a bittersweet win in a way, because he has a lot of connections still with some of the guys at Alabama that he shared a locker room with, but obviously he was pretty happy after the game and being able to smoke a cigar on that side of the field with Tennessee now, and he talked about how he's played a lot of snaps so far, and that's not necessarily something that he or anyone thought was going to have to be the case this year with how Josh Heupel handles the tight end situation, with kind of what we saw with Jacob Warren and Princeton Fant, and then Jacob Warren and McClellan Castles, where they kind of split it pretty much 50-50 every other drive. And so far, it hasn't been the case with Miles Kitselman, and he said, he still has a lot of faith in the other guys in his room, particularly Holden Stays and Ethan Davis, and he feels like that maybe that snap count will start to go down for him a little bit and more towards a more even share, and that he kind of needs that. He doesn't feel like he can play 70 snaps a game and still feel like he's at the top of his game, but obviously I don't think he's shying away from the increased role that he's had recently, and I don't think he's been perfect in the role, but I don't think he's been too bad either. And I think he's been what Tennessee kind of needs consistency-wise at that tight end position. And also Deshaun Bishop behind Dylan Sampson, he talked as well, just kind of said, he really works and focuses before games and trying to prepare the right way. And then, once games start, for him, sometimes you don't see the field till the second quarter. Yeah. And because Dylan Sampson's been so good, and he also talked about kind of just the type of steady presence Dylan Sampson is. Lost a fumble early in that game against Alabama, but bounced back really well. But Deshaun, doesn't matter that maybe he's not seeing the field, he's just focusing on when he gets his opportunity, trying to make the most of it, kind of the mature response, the coach response a little bit, but definitely what you want to hear from a backup running back that's kind of coming in here and there and getting like 5 carries a game, just trying to stay focused on the sideline, trying to learn what you can from the sideline before applying it to the limited snaps you get. It'll be all from us here, though, today inside Tennessee football's practice facility. We'll be back tomorrow, talk to some assistant coaches, talk to some more players, and have another recap for you guys. We'll also have written content over at VolReport.com. The Lady Vols get their first exhibition going against Carson Newman, the first one with Kim Caldwell as a coach, kind of our first look at what the Lady Vols are going to look like this year. We've seen really nothing too public, even at the open practices to the media. We haven't really fully seen how the press is going to look, how the offense is going to look. It's been a lot of kind of one-on-one drills and things like that. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out against obviously an inferior opponent, but still going to be interesting to see who kind of looks like they have it grasped and how that system's going to roll with Tennessee. So that'll be interesting. Men's basketball gets their season going on Monday. They just had their exhibition last night against Indiana. We have full coverage of that over at VolReport.com. So really everything you need, Tennessee Athletics, we have you covered at VolReport. Links to everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.